brilliant.
What hour?
What's that?
What hour is what's the time?
It's 3:01.
You're having.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so
in the afternoon, not in the morning, right? In the afternoon.
No, in the morning for me.
In the morning? Oh.
In the morning. Yeah. Bright and early.
It's kind of yes.
But I get up
Quite
early, so
early.
I've been up a couple hours already. So
Okay.
clicked on set up the live video. I don't know if we are live or not. I'm not sure. It says live custom streaming. Let me refresh Facebook and see. I'm not sure if we're live just yet.
How about Bina? Will she join us?
What's that?
Bina, will she join us today?
Yes. She has some technical difficulties, so she's sorting those out. She'll be as soon as she can. Brilliant. Good morning. Just want to check it's showing in the group. I see, I'm not seeing it showing the group. So, if you refresh Facebook, does it show for you? I have another page, that says live. Oh, I have to click go live. I see. Okay. All right. Are you ready, Daniela?
Yes.
All right, there we go. All right. Oh, and the title. All right. What was our title again?
Own your development.
The importance of owning your development. Yeah.
The importance of owning your development. Yeah. Yes. So that would be the topic for today's discussion and debate. So if we're live, perhaps this is also an invitation to everybody out there listening. That perhaps
one moment. We're not quite there yet. Yeah. One moment, Daniela. Yeah.
We're not? Okay.
Oh, no.
No problem.
Yeah, you have to click twice. It doesn't always make sense. All right. The importance of owning your development. I click live. There we go. And we should be live right now.
Great. Should we wait for Bina or?
No, we can.
She will join us whenever she can.
I'm not sure yeah, she'll join whenever she can. I'm just refreshing on Facebook. Make sure it's showing there. Yep, there we are. Good morning, everybody. Good morning. All right, what is our topic today, Daniela?
So, yes, good morning, everyone. The subject that we wanted to discuss today is the importance of owning our self-development, right? I believe it's kind of a hot topic given the circumstances that we are living in nowadays. So perhaps this discussion today can be an invitation or a reminder to those of you out there listening to us and that are ready enough or willing enough to take their development in their own hands, right? Refusing to outsource this great power that we have over ourselves, over our development, over our present, and also over our future, right? Refusing to outsource this responsibility, to transfer it to somebody else. Because regardless, the coaches, the teachers, the gurus out there that are more than willing to help us, ultimately, we need to be the ones taking care of our development. We are the experts in our lives. We know what is best for ourselves and for our evolution, right? So that would be our intention today, to discuss a bit, to touch base a bit on the importance of having this self-development mindset, especially now in this kind of confusing times that we're living, right?
Yes.
So please be invited. Feel free to ask any questions. We are here to share from our experience and bounce ideas on this very important topic, the importance of owning your development, our development, because we are all in the same boat, aren't we?
Yes, we most certainly are. We most certainly are. Owning our self-development for me, and in what I do especially, it's so critical. It's absolutely so critical. And the main key reason for this, if we don't own our self-development, what then? Think of it in the reverse, right? What's the consequence if we don't own it? Then you are essentially in a situation where you are forced to believe somebody else completely and utterly and totally, and you just have to accept their word for it, and it's something external to you. Now, it may or may not be valuable, but our internal system, our internal safety checks, our integrity, in other words, and our self-honesty says, yeah, but it sounds good, but I'm not so sure. So we don't fully integrate it into our system because it's not ours. We're living somebody else's idea, somebody else's life. So if you don't own it inside yourself, how does it really fully get right down into your bones and your body and become yours? So this owning is so key. Otherwise, you're just living it halfway, and maybe, and usually you can watch this. If you pay attention to people doing self-development, you've probably seen it in yourself and your friends. There's something new comes and they get all excited and say, hey, check this out. This is so cool. And they're all into it. And then what happens a month or so later? It's gone. You never hear anything about that again because they never made it their own. It's always somebody else's thing. And we cannot live somebody else's life. So this is a real critical issue. You know, for me, I tell participants, I say, don't believe a word I say. I'm like, what? but you know, you're running the program, and of course, no, don't believe a word I say. You got to figure it out for yourself. You got to put it together. Yes, I can give you the building blocks. I can give you the tools for putting it together, and that is what I do. But you need to put it together yourself. Very important. If you don't, you're never really going to own it. It's like somebody telling you how to ride a bicycle, and you listen and say, yeah, okay, I get it. I understand how to ride the bicycle. Do you really know how to ride the bicycle?
I do. If that's a question for me personally, yes, I do.
I mean, if you only been told the instructions, or you've only read the instructions, I mean, in that case, do you know how to ride a bicycle? You actually have to go and actually ride it to really know how to ride the bicycle. That's what I mean. Yeah, that's owning.
Yes.
Owning. You have to actually do it. So owning is that last step. You can't just hear the instructions. You have to actually do it. You have to own it. You have to make it your own. Say, I agree with this. I see the sense of this. I see the logic of this. I understand why it works, how it works. I get it. But I really do get it. I don't just think I get it. And that owning, it's not just having it inside your head as an understanding. That's like having something on your hard drive that, you know, you pull up as just needed as a memory. It's not part of your operating system. In order to really live self-development, it needs to be part of your operating system, not just something that's an intellectual idea. Those are come and go, and we see them a zillion times a day. I don't know how many trillions of memes I've seen and my friends have seen. And we as a world, we've all seen all of these magic, and they're good memes, the wisdom memes. They're always saying something really profound and deep and insightful. How much has that changed us? Not very much, or pretty close to zero, right? But you see it and you go, oh, that's so cool. That's so important. And you share it all across the internet. It doesn't make a difference because you're not using it. You're not making it your own. It's just something you see that's cool. It goes into your memory, into your database. So you have to own it. You have to use it. You have to say, how come this magical piece of wisdom makes sense? Why is it wise? How does it exactly work? Do I agree with what's underlying it? What's behind it? This is to me owning it. This is to me owning it. It's a big topic. Sorry, I don't mean to ramble on, but it's a huge topic for me. Huge. It's very, very important. It's a key point of learning. Very key point of learning.
Yes.
Yeah.
It is quite critical, is the keys, the main stone, right? Is the foundation of the entire self-development path. If we don't own it, then perhaps, as you said, at some point we will wake up someday and we will realize that we were living somebody else's life, somebody else's dream, not our own, not ours. But it's a journey, right? Definitely it's a journey. Perhaps today we just want to set a bit the foundation to give some ideas around this topic, and hopefully this resonate with you so you can integrate them into our lives, make sense of them, make them your own. As Sil said, don't trust the words that we are saying. The words are not the map, right? It's not the experience itself. So you need to go out there. If something that we are saying, we are debating, we are discussing here today, or for that matter, in any other life discussions that we had or that we will be having in the future. So just don't take it for granted. I mean, go out there and put it into practice, integrate it, reflect, contemplate on it, make it your own. Take that piece of advice or from our shared experiences and see if it molds somehow into your current life context. If you can make it your own, if you can I don't know, find something that really makes you alive somehow, right? That makes sense to you.
Resonates. That resonates deeply. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
So hi, Mohi. Mohi has joined the chat comments there, so he's glad to hear. He asked what it's about. So if you have any questions, please ask. Anyone, just please ask. A question that I am keen to ask, Daniela. If you have maybe an example of making something your own, or owning your personal development, maybe an example.
Sure. Well, I can't really say that I owned my personal development from the beginning, right? So it was a journey. It was a path that I needed to take in order to reach this very deep and profound sense of owning my development, and not only at mental level, but also in my heart and in my actions as well, to be fully aligned, right? With what I was thinking, with what I was feeling, and also with what I was doing. And for example, when it came to my career, in the beginning of my professional career, I always thought that my manager should own my development, that my manager is responsible in making my career work, that he or she should find those projects, those development projects, those trainings, those courses that are best for me. And that proved to be quite wrong, actually, from the start, because what I was doing was actually to transfer my power of choice towards an external person, right? And they might have been right in their decisions, in their choices. They might have had a broader perspective of life, or when it comes to developing your career, my career at that point in time, but they were not me, right? So at some point, I understood that I didn't actually resonate with this path they were telling me to do, they were telling me to take. And I was kind of really unhappy, and I didn't know why, not in the beginning, not from the first. So it took me, yes, it took me some time to figure it out, and to realize that actually I needed to take my power back, that I needed to own my career development and my personal development as well, because it's one of the same. They are pieces of in the same puzzle, right?
Yes.
But until yeah, so and that gave me, and it's a mindset. It was a switch in my mindset that I had to make, and that gave me tremendous joy when I started to follow my own heart, my own path, to take the power back. Everything else just came into picture, right? So it was really nice. It was a nice journey, and I'm doing it for some time now, and it feels like, for me at least, it feels like I'm in control of my life. I can choose whatever I want to do. I am in charge of my mind. I am in charge of my feelings, and therefore I am in charge of my results, right? I am responsible in a positive and motivated manner for every single outcome that I have. So it's not, I'm not, and I can give you actually a tool. It's something. It's one of the most important principles in personal development, in self-development. It's simple and extremely empowering as well. But then again, it's a switch in mindset. And I want to tell you a bit about the cause and effect equation, right? So you have, on one hand, you have you can be at cause. You can be the one deciding for yourself, or on the other hand, you can be at the effect side of this equation, where we are having reasons or excuses for not having the results that we want to have, right? And perhaps, and this is something that works for me. I'm not saying that it will work for you or not. It's just an invitation to try it if you feel like you resonate with it. And what you can do is just to, every time you make a move, you take a decision, you want something, or you are feeling something perhaps not on the side of joy and happiness and empowering kind of feelings, just take a moment and think if you are at the cause side of this equation, or if you are on the effect side of this equation, right? So being at cause means to take back your power, to feel empowered, to change your behavior. Being at the effect side means to find reasons and excuses for things not happening the way that you want them to happen, right? So so this is something that I implemented in my life, right? And I know when I am a cause, I'm saying that I can say that I am in charge of my mind, of my feelings, that I am responsible and motivated for my outcomes, for my life, for my results, right? And when I am at the effect of this equation, I'm in that victim kind of mindset. Somebody else did it, right? They are responsible. It wasn't me. They made me do it. It's not my fault. It's theirs, right? So it's very kind of powerful if you get to implement that in your life as a mindset. Again, it's a mindset. switch in mindset, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Huge, 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 huge. Ah, it's cool. That's cool. That's really cool. Cool story. Cool story. None, I'm assuming that's how it's pronounced. None. Hanifa asks, can you please stress out what is owning? So yes, and personal development. It is when I own it, it means it's mine. That's it. It's mine. Doesn't matter where I learned it from. It's when I own it, it's I am acknowledging, or I know, and I've because of many reasons like testing and proving it to myself, I said, oh, this is mine. Doesn't matter where I came from originally. Now through application, through usage, through proving it to myself, to using it, to doing it, it's become mine. And not only because I've just believed it and accepted it, but I've thought it through. I've figured it out. I've gone, really looked at it from every angle. And I say, I see the sense of this. I figured it out. It's mine now because I've basically reinvented the wheel. Yes, you gave me the idea of the wheel, but then I went and reinvented it and figured it out and, made all the adjustments and stuff like that. And that's owning it. When we basically redo it and make it our own. It's very powerful. I mean, I can give an example, for instance, like say patience. Yeah, personal development, learning patience. Patience is a superpower. It's a huge thing. You can see, you you can see the meme, or you can be told by somebody who you're doing a course with, or see somebody that has patience, say, look, this is really valuable, and you say, oh yes, okay, cool, patience, patience is a good thing, I want to have patience, I should have patience. But until you get to that point where you can say, you know what, I see now, because I'm applying patience, I'm practicing patience, I'm implementing patience, and I've thought about patience in detail. I see why it's a good thing, what it involves, what does patience actually mean, and so on. If you really go through it, I can go into patience, but I'm more on the point of owning it. At some point, you come to realize that, wow, I actually have patience, really, really have it, not as an idea, but the ability. I'm standing in line at the supermarket or the bank, and the line is very long, and I have to stand there, and I don't mind. And it's not a bother. It's not a problem. I'm chill. I'm happy. I'm cool. I got patience. I can wait as long as it takes. Wow, I really have patience. That's when I start to own it. See, it's mine. It's not somebody else's idea. It's mine. It comes from inside me. All right, one more point on this owning. When we start, and this for me was a big point, I'll make a little bit of a longer story out of this in owning, None. So when I was a kid, I spent a lot of time, all my whole childhood, I spent on learning and studying and focusing on self-development. It was really a big thing for me ever since I was 10. So it was all big deal. But then I started reading about self-development and self-improvement and philosophy and psychology and literature, and you name it. I read everything. And then I was always seeking. I wanted more. I wanted learning, and I was reading everything I could get off. I mean, I read, it's a long story what all I read, right? Huge deal. And at some point, I started to realize, wait a second, something else is going on here. I'm seeing stuff that I'm reading. It's connecting to things that are deep inside me. And this is the point I want to make, that we have a sensibility, a deeper sensibility. And I don't know, it seems kind of a mystical thing to me, a little bit of a magical thing. I don't, but it doesn't matter. It's there. And I see it in everybody that I deal with too, the participants of our programs and courses, as a mourners to us. We have a deep desire and an intent to be sensible, to be good, to be more. And that part is the owning part. When we connect our external behavior to that deep inner self, to say, whoa, I really am actually somebody who truly wants to be good, who truly wants to be patient, who truly wants to be sensible, who truly wants to be disciplined, who truly wants us to manage their emotions, whatever it is, doesn't matter. When you connect that inner depth, that resonance that Daniela was talking about, that deep passion, that's your passion, that's important to you. When you connect that to this, to something external that you are learning, that you are adding to yourself, and you see, whoa, this external thing, this patience is something actually I deeply want inside me. And then you connect it to, this is owning. This is owning. And then also you've got to test it and prove that you can do it. It's no good owning it and saying, yes, I own patience because I really think it's important. You got to prove to yourself that you actually do have it. You got to go out and test it. So not only testing, but self-proving is very, very important. Then when you can say, I got this, I really can do this, then you're owning it. Then you're owning it. You in charge, not somebody else. So, in the bigger context, I'm talking about owning particular things, but in the bigger picture of owning your personal development, you've got to say, I'm the one responsible here. That's it. Me, not the coach, not the guru, not the teacher, not anybody else. Me. I'm responsible for my personal development, nobody else. Yeah, this idea that we can be taught, it's a bit of a false idea. Yes, technically that's sort of possible, but you cannot teach somebody who doesn't want to learn, right? So you can try, you can say all you like. You've probably seen it when you were at school, right? The teacher taught, some people got it in the class, others didn't. The ones who got it were the ones that were learning and making an effort on their own to understand. In other words, they were owning their learning. They didn't just expect to hear it and understand and know what's going on. It doesn't work that way. So learning is something we have to do. And owning it says, I'm in charge. I'm responsible. I'm responsible for me being more. No one else. Cannot be anybody else, because then you'll be them, not you. Does that make sense, None? There's a little bit of a delay between the video and as it comes out. So and just let me know if that resonated, if that makes sense. I'm keen to elaborate as much as possible from as many different angles on this topic, because it's a deep topic. Without this, we get nowhere, right, Daniela?
Yes, indeed. And you touched point on the importance of having your own experience, right? On practicing what you have learned from your guru, from your coach, from your teacher, from books. Doesn't really matter the source, but it's still an external source. And what does that mean? It's outside yourself, right? So you need to link that with your internal source, with your internal being, with your internal needs.
Exactly.
As much as you can, right? As much as you can. What we are talking about today, perhaps it's an ideal state of being, right? It's an ideal mindset. There are a lot of steps in between, and everybody needs to take their own path, right? To take their own journey. And it might be straightforward, or it might be like this. Doesn't really matter, as long as you have a clear intention to own your life, to own your development, right? Because life will find a way to bring this to your attention, right? Because actually the potential was always there. The potential of owning it's always there. You just need to see it.
Exactly.
To find it, to find your way back to it.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Yeah.
And it connects to passion. So what you're saying here is that desire, that owning it, that taking responsibility. When I say I'm responsible for my personal development, things change. This is no longer now something that I have to do, and it's like, this is a lot of work. When I own it, I say, I want to do this. This is really, really important to me. This is valuable to me. This is useful to me. This is a big deal to me. This is something I really, really want. This is my passion. This is, if I go into my deepest depths of being, I say, there, my monas, my secret dreams and fantasies of being. I want to be somebody who's good. I want to be somebody who's sensible, somebody who has integrity, somebody who's impeccable, somebody who's patient, etc. Whatever your things are, right? I'm just mentioning a few for me. So that's a real deep, your real self, as far as I'm concerned, your monas self. And that's your passion. That's what really matters to you. Everything else in the end of the day, doesn't matter. You can have success and fame and wealth and all that. But if you're not happy and content with yourself, if you don't like yourself, those things aren't going to help you. People think they do, but they don't. We see this all the time with people who have success, in terms of participants. They get to the end of their life pretty much, or, just before retirement age, that midlife crisis age. And they say, I need more. I need more. Why? Because they never really owned their personal development. They never really even focused on personal development. They focused on other stuff. They never got to that innerness that really matters to them. And so when we are already on the path of personal development, we've got to be sure that when we own it, we are connecting to what really matters to us, to what's meaningful and purposeful and significant to you, to yourself, not what somebody else says. Now, yes, what they say may be true. It may work for you, but you've got to internalize it. You've got to figure it out. You've got to think it through to the end, all the way. Really, really, does this really mean? Is this what I want? Does this resonate with me? Does this connect to me? Does this sit up and really get me excited and get me going? Is this my own, in other words? No matter where it started from, you're going to make it your own. If it's not your own, it's not you. And you can't live somebody else. You can only live you. Yes?
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Very nice. I like that topic. So, so,
so important.
yes.
So critical. So critical. Yeah.
Yes, it is. And Sil, this is why I really love coaching. And this is why I found it to be quite a tool, quite a method for changing behaviors in the long run, I mean, because good coaches out there will always tell you that you, the coachee, you are the expert of your life. You are the real guru of your life. You are the real teacher of your life. A coach will give you the tools, will give you the framework, will give you the step-by-step blueprint if you want. But if you don't have the right motivation, the right internal drive, then those are just tools, actually, right? So you can take a hammer and hurt someone with it, or you can take a hammer and build a house. It all depends on what you do with that method, with that practice, right? So this is what we are saying. You need to make it yours. You need to decide, right? What exactly do you want from yourself, from your life?
Yes.
Right. Yeah. So and look at the entire context, the general context of your life, not just now. Take a look at everything that you are feeling, that you have experienced so far, and start to imagine how you would like that to change. And of course, as I said earlier, there are steps in between. And our recommendation will always be that start small with the first step, and then the second, and then the third. You don't need to figure out the entire journey, right? It's that saying, it's about the journey and not the destination. So in self-development, it applies quite well.
Exactly.
Right? So
it's powerful. It's so powerful to make that. And two, you were talking about construction and coaches. A lot of coaches will help you. And helping is dangerous, because when we help people, we tend to do things for them, and they never really learn by themselves. So I'm helping you build your house, and I'm hammering, I'm nailing, I'm screwing in, and you don't really know what you're doing, because, well, I'm doing most of the work and you're just doing a little bit here and there, and the next thing your house is built. And then somebody says to you, can you build your own house? Well, no, my coach helped me. No good. Yeah. So for me, real coaching is, I say, here's the hammer, here's the screwdriver, here's the saw, here's all the tools. And I show you, I demonstrate to you, and I make sure you understand how to use the tools. Once you know how to use the tools, I say, there you go. What do you want to do? Clarity of intent, exactly what you were talking. Know what you're doing. Know exactly what it is that you want. Be absolutely clear about what you want. Okay, so now you really figure out what kind of house you want to build. If you know exactly what kind of house you want, you get nice plans and all this, then to actually build it, once you know the tools, it's not all that difficult, right? So this is, to me, what coaching is about. You know, I help you figure out your plans. I assist you. I don't help you. I assist you. I show you other tools. I provide you, and you find out. Say, oh, these are the tools. You now fill up your own toolbox, and you have all these tools. Then we go about practicing and testing and making sure you know how to use those tools. Then you can go and build your house. And then forevermore, you're capable. You can add extensions. You can renovate it. You can build other houses. You can build bigger houses. You can build a car, whatever. You can keep going because you have the tools. So this is important. Owning your development means owning the ability to learn, the ability to grow, the ability to change. This is owning your development, right? You got to own that ability to change by yourself. You know, self-change is a solitary endeavor. Nobody can do it for you. You've got to do it yourself. So this owning is basically just saying, hey, I can do this, and learn how. Practice, practice, practice. Without that practice, you don't get anywhere. So owning it is just taking that full responsibility. It's on me. And then you can ask questions, figure out what's going on. There's all sorts of wonderful ways to learn. We just have to do it. Just have to get started. Very cool.
Yeah.
Very cool. Do I have something else to add to this? Go ahead, Daniela.
Yeah, I really love what you said about owning the ability to grow, the ability to change, the ability to learn, because this is something that well, we know, and we find out, and sooner or later we find out that life is changing around us, and we can't really influence the outcome, the external circumstances. Not all the time. Some we might, but most of the time we cannot. We don't have that kind of power to influence someone else's, to own someone else's reactions, behaviors, and so on and so forth. What we have power over is on our own ability, on our own skills, ability to learn, to grow, right? To develop, as Sil said. And this is actually something that we are taking with us, regardless of our jobs, because we are going to change our jobs over the years, right? But the ability to change, to learn, and to grow, we will take that with us, regardless where we are at, regardless of our life circumstances. And that's, I don't know if everybody realizes how powerful that is.
It's huge.
To have something within you that you can rely on, regardless of whatever is happening in your life, whatever is happening in the world. That's true power, right? That's true power.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's learning not just an ability. Oh, go ahead, sorry.
Yeah, I had another idea, but I'm changing a little bit the subject. So if you wanted to continue on that specific topic, please go ahead.
I actually have something. It's this whole week on the Zoom sessions I do with the participants. This has been coming up. So I have a little story I want to share in a moment here. Just to put it into context a little bit. It's when it comes to owning, like you're saying, with the tools. We don't just want to learn to do something in a specific instance. I have a story on this. People who don't own their learning fully, and they just learn things indirectly. I had a friend, and I was playing at my friend's house when I was a kid, and he got injured, and we had to take him to the hospital. And his mother said, "Come, let's go and get in the car." And her car happened to be in the shop, and it was her husband had left his car there. And she gets in the car and she says, "Oh, I can't drive this. This is a Ford. I drive a Chevy." I'm like, "What? Are you serious?" It blew my mind that she couldn't translate. She didn't learn to drive a vehicle. She learned to drive a specific model that she never owned. In other words, driving. She just had copied something and knew it only in that specific instance. So when we own our development, we learn it in a bigger context, and we can take it from the one particular instance onto another, because you own the fully. She never owned driving. She never owned learning to drive a vehicle. She just was copying and going through the motions. Do this, do that. It was all exact and precise. I mean, I was just
Yeah.
completely, my mind was blown. I mean, I was like, seriously, woman, seriously? And you know, how difficult is it to translate from one to the other? It's like, come on. Anyway, so we didn't go. The kid just had to bleed. And, you know, I guess, I don't know what happened to him eventually, but it wasn't that critical. But I guess, you know, he never got stitches or whatever, but it's too amazing. It's too fascinating. So
Yeah.
this is a key point, you know, to really understand that when we own ourselves and own our learning, it's a bit bigger than just learning the particulars of a situation. You can transfer it, and you can take the learning that you arrived in one situation and go and do it in another thing. So like that, when building your house, if you know how to use the tools, you can build any kind of house. You're not just building a specific thing. So it's very huge. I want to read a little story, Daniela. It's
Sure.
a little section out of a bigger story. So, you know, just have to put it together a little bit. You know, I'm just pulling it out of a big, long book series, actually. And it's a book series about a society that is absolutely focused on learning, personal development, and actually they centered around nobility, nobleness, not the hereditary nobility, but about being noble. So it's a big deal for them, learning and growing and being more. It's a really big deal. But this is about, I'll explain afterwards. It's about really, really owning your learning, and there's a bit more in here, so it's kind of cool. So I'll share. I'll screen share, and you can read along with, and I'll connect it up to owning afterwards. All right. So here we go. All right. So this is Biala talking. She says, the new nobility spend much of their time on studying, learning, and information acquisition, but their focus is on making it all useful. To that end, we have found the usual beginning to end on something is not actually the most effective method to learn, even for those who are capable of retaining all the information. That information simply goes into them as information. Information only has limited use, a very big deal. It's crucial in the understanding of what makes the new nobles what they are. Their interest is almost never to remember. In fact, that type of information acquisition can be counterproductive. It easily leads us to thinking we know something, when in fact, in practical, applicable terms, we do not. Knowing information and being able to do something is not the same. The new nobles strive to make sure their knowledge is apply-able, not only in how they communicate, but also for themselves. We will be coming back to this many times. The connection to now is important. We have found learning to be much more effective when it's connected, when it's pertinent, when it's relevant, when it relates. Usually, this means we obtain knowing in parts or chunks. Biala grabbed Cornelius lightly by the arm to get his attention. Seems like an ineffective system, doesn't it? She asked him. Why, yes. You'll never get all of it. You'll just end up with all these fragments. But, he frowned. Why do I get the feeling I'm being set up here? Ha. Biela laughed delightedly. Because you are. You most definitively are. Definitely are. Leaving it there, she turned towards Ursula again and continued. Those parts, especially because the new nobles are trying to connect to the abstract, start to form a pattern. Not only that, but for the one who is learning, their interest prompts them to fill in the gaps. Good point. The way the school is set up, aspirants are encouraged to not only ask as much as they can, but also to seek multiple answers on the same point or topic. The different perspectives they gain that way are invaluable, but only receiving parts of the big picture. By only receiving parts of the big picture, an aspirant is now motivated to seek the rest by themselves. This process leads the aspirant thinking leads, sorry, this process leads to the aspirant thinking deeply about the topic. If they are going to ask about it, they do not want to receive the exact same information or explanation every time they ask. So they're automatically forced to reformulate their questions. They have to extrapolate somewhat to frame the inquiries in such a way that it's connected to the original explanation. But that also leads to an extension of it and to new information and understanding. As their skill in question asking grows, they will ask in alternate ways to ensure receiving answers from many different perspectives and viewpoints. The overall magic of this process results in someone putting together all those parts by themselves. This is invaluable to long-term usability, value, and true understanding. So the whole point of the story is to say, hey, when you own your learning, just life in general, learning comes to us in these parts, in chunks. It's up to us to fill in the gaps, to connect it, to ask questions, to fill in those gaps, because we typically just get our learning, our personal development. It doesn't come A to Z. And that's just, if you want to say the universe or life itself, is just how it generally works. But it's actually a really excellent system. So if you own your learning, say, I know a little bit here, I know a little bit here, and I start to try and put it together to make sense of it in the bigger picture. That putting it together yourself, that filling in the pieces of the puzzle and creating the missing pieces yourself, that's owning it. That's really owning it. And asking questions about what you don't know. Again, you owning, say, I don't know something, I need to know it. This is owning your personal development by you making the effort to fill in the gaps, to know, to complete it, to get to that point where you can say, I got this, I know this, I own it, it's mine. And then you really, really can do it and use it. And, you know, without that using, it's not very, very useful to you. It doesn't mean anything, right? Without that ability to actually apply it, doesn't mean anything. Yes? Yes.
Yeah, and I really like the power of questions. It
Yes.
helps us expand our mind, our being, our understanding of things, right? And I would invite anyone that listening to us to use this powerful tool as much as possible. Ask as many questions as you can, and not only about those things that you don't know, but perhaps if you want to challenge yourself, ask questions about the things that you believe that you know.
Exactly. Yes, 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 yes. Absolutely. That was another point in the story there, that the aspirants in the story, you know, the learners, they're encouraged to ask questions about the topic as from as many different people as possible. Now, that doesn't mean you ask the same question, because, well, then you're typically going to get the same answer and you're not going to get another perspective. So ask on what you do know and what you don't know, but change the questions so that the next time you ask somebody on this, they give you a slightly different angle. And through that angle, you get to see the bigger picture. And that's really cool. It really helps you to really own what's going on. An example of this is, I want to, my idea, personal development, I'm comparing it to understanding the layout, the floor plan of a house. But all I can do is look from the outside through the windows, right? If I only look through one or two windows, it's going to be very hard for me to understand what that floor plan is. But if I look through enough windows, at some point I have enough information where I can put it together, I can figure it out, I can deduce it, I can say, okay, here's the bedroom, here's the bathroom, here's the kitchen. Suddenly you put together all the parts and you get it. But that putting it together from those different angles, that's your owning it, that's making it your own. And those different windows that you look through, those can be the different questions. And because you're asking them differently, you're getting different perspectives. So you get to really see things from all these multiple angles, and that helps you to put it together. And this is huge. This is huge for personal development, because there's always more. Stuff is always connected. It's really, really cool. Norma says, ability to do or choose not to do. Yes, yes. We need to develop the ability to do or to choose not to do. And she adds, ability doesn't mean wish. Yes, exactly. Yes, exactly, Norma. Yes, 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 yes.
Ability is a wish that we have put into action, into practice.
Exactly.
Right, that walking the talk, not only wishing it, but also taking the steps, doing the work, putting a little bit of effort into that, so our wish can become an ability, right,
Exactly.
in the long run.
Exactly. And here we come to the key root issue of the importance of owning yourself, your personal development, and owning yourself too. It's that doing the work. if you don't own this whole idea, this project of personal development, if you don't own it, you're not going to do the work. You're just not, because it's not really yours. It's somebody else's thing. You're not motivated. There's no passion. When you own it, this is important to me. This is what I want. Now it doesn't become work. It becomes a joy. You're motivated. You want to do this. It's important to you. You like doing it. It's fantastic. It adds to you. You own it. You own it. It makes you do the work, but it doesn't become work. Then it goes away. It becomes joy. It's passion. So you watch anybody who really is passionate about something. Take a musician, or they really love playing the guitar, the piano. What do? They practice every day. They love practicing. Why? Because they own it. It's what they want to do. Same thing with personal development. You have to do it. And they figuring it out. Okay, this is the way to do it. This is the better way. I have to tweak this. They own it. They own it. So they learn, they grow, because they're doing it from inside, not from outside. It's really cool. It's really cool. Yes, of course, you get assistance, but it's assistance, not somebody else doing it for you. They are the ones learning. They have to, otherwise they can't play if they don't own it, right? Yeah. Personal development, same thing. We the instrument, and we have to practice playing ourselves. Yeah. You're gonna bring up something new. We have a little bit of time left, so if you want to, or we can end on that note. It's up to you.
Yeah, we've been saying a little bit about responsibility, owning it, and also taking responsibility. And it was something that popped out into my mind because it's a recent discussion I had with one of my coaches. She doesn't really resonate with this word responsibility, and talking with her, I understood that there are a lot of people out there that, especially millennials or representatives from Generation Z, that really don't resonate that much with this word responsibility. Seems like a burden to them, right? And we have said that word plenty of times today. And I remember something that Stephen Covey was saying about responsibility. He was saying that it doesn't need to be something that strikes fear into us. And it's actually something very positive and a very empowering way of controlling our life, or of living our life, right? And he says, and Stephen Covey, for those that you don't know him, he's an American educator, he's an author, he's a businessman. Perhaps you know him from his most popular book, The 7 Habits of Highly Efficient People. It was a really hit a few years back. And Stephen Covey, he was saying that responsibility equals, so if we are looking at the word itself, so responsibility equals response plus ability, right? So it's our ability to respond to events or to other people, to the circumstances in our life, rather than just react to them, rather than just being on autopilot and being a victim of our circumstances, right? So it's the response plus ability, responsibility, how we respond to the events and to the people in our lives, right? So perhaps that gives you a little bit of another perspective, in case you resonate with you don't resonate actually with this word. It puts you in a, I don't know, a negative kind of state of being, triggers you a little bit. Perhaps this is another way to reframe it, right?
Yes. For me, responsibility, again, it's a huge deal. It's a big word. It's one of the words that's in my dictionary of power, and most of the participants put it in theirs. And I come at it also, yes, responsibility. We want to own our ability to respond. In many ways to improve that, but this is most of our personal development is about that. To respond, not react. Big difference, right?
Yeah.
Respond means choice. Oh, The difference between reacting and responding is that there's a bit of a moment of pause. I see the different options. I choose an option and I respond, right? It's deliberate, in other words. So this is really, really huge. But also for me, that choice, when we really accept responsibility, that choice is a very big deal. And I'll demonstrate in a moment, because it's going to lead to something profound. When I'm choosing, I'm in charge. There's no complaints. There's no somebody else, no self-pity involved. So the way I like to demonstrate this is a very simple little sort of a question, a couple of questions and choices. So I want to ask everybody out there, right? I say, do you now know, right now in this moment, I'm including you here, Daniela, right in this very moment, do you know that in the future, weird stuff is going to happen, unfair stuff is going to happen, unjust stuff is going to happen, complicated stuff that you didn't particularly want, like whatever. You know in the future that there's a possibility that this kind of stuff that you don't necessarily want in your life is going to happen or could happen. Yes? You're aware of this? Yes? All right. So now, knowing this, being fully, acutely, absolutely in detail, clearly aware that nonsense and unfair stuff and crazy stuff could happen in your future. Knowing this, do you, and not just you, Daniela, but anyone listening, do you choose to continue living right now, knowing what could happen in the future? You choose to continue living?
To continue living. Yes,
yes.
Living. Of course.
You know that nonsense can happen in the future, but right now, knowing this, you choose to continue living, yes?
Yes, of course.
Right.
Of course.
So that means that you've now taken responsibility for what's coming in the future. So when stuff happens, you can't complain, because right this moment, you chose to continue living, knowing that stuff will happen. So when we combine responsibility with this choice to say, I know stuff can happen in life, I know nonsense can happen, I know it's not all cool, but I choose to continue living, knowing this, because we all know this, we all knew this way back when already, right? So we all chose to continue living. So this is now when you just have to connect this with responsibility. When you say, oh, I did choose to continue living, I am choosing. When that stuff happens, I can't complain. Say, I'm here, I know this stuff could happen, can't complain. And this is now, I'm living and in this life, in this world with all this nonsense, because I choose to. So now we connect responsibility to deliberate choice, and it transforms our responsibility. Because now when that stuff happens, I say, hey, I knew this was going to happen. I just got to deal with it. And I respond with ability. Yeah, not because I'm complaining and woe is me, poor baby, self-pity, all this nonsense. No, I deal with it. I deal with it because it's part of my choices. That to me is really, really profound when it comes to life responsibility. And to tie it back to our theme, I am owning the fact that I am in this world, not just my personal development, but I'm owning my living, my being here, and my being able to deal with whatever. Yes, I own it. I own it. I'm fully responsible. I accept full responsibility for being alive. That's owning life, no?
Yes, and co-creating with life.
Yeah, it's a big deal. It's a big topic for me. It's a very, very big topic. Yeah. Norma's just giving you a nice compliment. Norma says she's hearing Daniela well. She uses speech and smiles words too. Yes, she does smile words.
Oh, thank you.
You smile the content, you know. It comes from inside. Yes, because Norma,
I own it.
She owns it. Exactly.
Yes,
I mean, that's why we're so passionate about these topics, because we own them. They're us. Yeah. They're important to us.
This is actually, and this is actually an indicator for myself, and has always been an indicator to really know when I am in alignment with what I'm saying, with what I'm doing, with what I'm feeling, right? I'm looking at my feelings. If that particular thing makes me feel alive, makes me feel passionate about it, then that's a clear indicator that it resonates with me and that's deep inside myself, right? So whenever I'm feeling like that, I know that I'm on the right development path. If I'm not feeling like that, right, I need to change something. I need to get in alignment with myself. Yeah, that for me briefly means owning it. Give myself time, recognize and be aware whenever I'm not in alignment with myself, with my work, with whatever I'm doing, and give myself enough time to get in that alignment, because I'm not there 100% of the time, right? Life happens, and I still need to work on my self-development. It's a lifetime journey,
Oh
right?
yeah, oh
So
yeah, oh yeah. Life presses on us. We think we got it, and then we get pressed. Oh, I got more to own here. I got more to learn. It's too fantastic.
yeah,
Oh,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
that's maybe
Yes,
something we can talk about at some point in the future. Attunement and alignment. That's a very good topic. I just want to say hello to
yes,
Sue. Hopefully Sue will come on Zoom at some point. Sue's very magical and does all sorts of wonderful things and very deeply involved with what we do. So yeah, hopefully Sue will come join us one of these days. So very cool. Hello Sue. Glad
yeah,
you're here. Glad you're here. Very cool. Very cool. Yeah, yeah. So fantastic, fantastic.
great.
All right. Anything to wrap up with, Daniela? Then we leave off here.
Yeah, so for everybody out there, my message is that you are the expert of your life and nobody else. You can have 100 teachers and gurus and coaches and listen to 1,000 podcasts and read 1,000 books, and I do recommend you do that, all of that, right? Um, and it's extremely important to remember, to always remember that regardless of how many teachers you have out there and how many courses and trainings and coaching sessions you are doing, and again, do all of that, but remember that you are the expert of your life and nobody else, right? You know yourself better than anyone else, and if you don't know yourself yet, you are on that path to get to know yourself a little bit better. And tomorrow it will be another piece of the puzzle that you are adding, and so on and so forth. Right?
Yes.
So,
Yes. You are the expert of your own life. Gotta own it.
yeah.
Gotta own it. On a quick little note here, just to end on reading. When I used to read, and it's a long story. We'll get into it one day with the reading. But always when I read with a pen to underline. Now, to underline is something that was important to me. But also, when I underlined, it forced me to stop and say, whatever this point was, I would not continue reading until I owned that point. Whatever I thought was important or valuable or insightful or sensible, until I owned it. In other words, I would say to myself, how do I know I really get what they are saying? So I would think it through, figure it out until a point where I could explain it to somebody else's as my own. That's when I knew I'd owned the point, and only then would I continue to read. Because we think we understand, but you try and explain that point to somebody, that thing that you saw, oh, this is so wonderful, without them seeing what the point is, right? Then you suddenly realize how much you have not yet owned it. So when you think of owning it in that way, the ability to explain it and like it's coming from you and own it fully, and now it becomes your point. So when you explain it to somebody, this is your understanding, not the book's understanding. That's really owning it. It's very cool. That's why you don't hear me quote things very often. I just say it because I made it my own. It's mine now. Never mind where it came from originally. I own it. It's mine. All right.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
Great.
Brilliant. I
Great.
love it. This reminds
Okay.
me of that. Yeah. That's a big deal. That red
So,
pen, it worked a lot. Worked a lot. Very cool. Very cool. All right. Anybody? Oh, nobody have any more questions? All right. We'll end it right there. Yeah. That's
Yes.
good, right? Daniela, you good?
Yes, yes, it is. Thank you for your time today. Thank you for this session. It was a really nice discussion and topic. And
I'm sorry
looking
Bina
forward
couldn't
to
join
the
us.
next Friday.
Yes, yes.
Well, next
Rabina will be
time.
here next
Yeah.
time. Yes, yes, too. So technical difficulties. What can you do? What can you do? All right. Bye bye. Bye bye. Bye bye, everybody. Bye bye. And
Bye.
ask questions. Doesn't matter if you're not seeing it live. Ask questions. We will respond. We check those comments very regularly. So ask, please. All right. Bye bye. Bye bye, everybody.
Yes.
Bye bye.
Bye,
All right.
everybody.
End meeting for all.